Welcome back to our very first Wolva event. I hope you all enjoyed your break as much as we did, and we are happy to welcome you back live now to our second part of the event, which is our Wolva Talk. And we're going to talk with Anna, our beautiful yoga teacher who has just led us through a beautiful yoga class. And also Eva and myself are joining. And just to give you a bit more of clarification, who we actually are. Eva and me, we are part of the Wolva team, and we are actually also the ones taking care of social media. So there is real humans behind those channels and behind those brands. So if you ever have a question or want to get in touch with us, just write us a message and we are happy to answer you. But today is not about us. Today is way more about Anna. And we are so happy to have her here. And I know a lot about your personal story, but maybe our participants and listeners and viewers don't know. So I would love to ask you to share a little bit about your personal story, if you may.
Sure. So my name is Anna, and I live and teach and work and be in Berlin, here in Germany, but I also travel around Germany for yoga teacher trainings. And I'm originally from southern Germany, and yeah, that's where I grew up, and also kind of got my attitude of you have to work hard and always function and everything. And so yeah, since I grew up in this more traditional realm, I also chose a more traditional career, I would say, before all of this. I studied international business. And I was doing a dual study program, and I was very much always in this context of working hard and performing and everything. I think we all know it. But yeah, what happened that it changed? It was, I early on realized that with this pace, I cannot continue always like this. And I had some small kind of bumpy roads where I kind of hit the ground, and I worked in a big corporation. Then I went eventually to tech world, and everything was always about fast-paced results. You have to do something and deliver, and I think everyone can relate. This is just the world we're kind of living in. But there was already in my study times a moment when I felt so burned out or so heavy that I kind of felt I lost my joy, I lost my joie de vivre, you know, my lust for life. And I told my good friend in my study group, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just do what I can now, but I'm focusing on, I'm just gonna be happy for now. And she looked at me and she was like, okay, whatever that was. And it took so long. I mean, that was in my bachelor studies. I did a master's degree. And then finally, after some time, I went to India actually, and I just did a teacher training for myself, thinking, yeah, I'm just going to do this for myself to have a nice time off. I know you can relate. And yeah, somehow it took my life over. So I was working in an office, I had a job as a product manager, and then I was working on a desk. Then in my break, I was rushing to teach a yoga class because that was what I really loved, and I loved seeing people coming out of Shavasana and being, you know, having this glow in their eyes and being all so, woof. Yeah. And I felt like I had found a way to make people high without any side effects or without illegally. So it was really what I enjoyed, and so I focused on that, but also the deeper I went into my own practice, the more I found out on what the practice actually does, and it's not just about the physical aspects. And so I kind of went into a journey of learning and learning and learning, and I'm still there, so it never stops.
Does it ever stop, the path of learning?
No.
Like I have the feeling sometimes, I don't know how about you guys, but that life is like meant to be learning, or we are meant to be learning all our life, maybe. I mean, I don't know, but maybe that's just the case. And so if we go and look at yoga look at yoga in general first, what exactly is yoga for you? If you would, I know it's hard to define, but what do you think yoga is for you personally?
Well, yoga is everything and nothing. sometimes, to be honest, I'm really annoyed because I feel yoga is just being in fancy leggings and doing downward dog and whatsoever, but it's part of the thing, it's one thing, but it's really just a tiny little fraction. Because, I mean, I'm following the Eightfold Path defined by Patanjali, so Ashtanga Yoga, and asana, so the physical movements, is just one part of it. Yeah? It's just one way of getting into the body to release also so much blockages that you have, to release emotions that you hold on for your entire life. But the whole thing that comes afterwards, yeah, pranayama, the control of the breath, and for me it's also much more than that, because it's with the breath control, you control your life. You control how you feel, how you respond to things that happen to you, but also happen within you. Yeah. If you can notice your breath, and you notice your breath patterns, you notice when you stop to breathe, huh? And that's also very, very interesting experiences lie within. And then of course the whole meditation part. I mean, it's so interesting because when I tell people what I'm doing, I tell, yeah, I'm doing yoga, I'm doing breath work, and I'm doing meditation. But actually, if you are aware of the yoga philosophy, you know that it's all just the same thing. Like yoga describes all these things, and it's not just asana, like not just the physical part. So for me, it's a lifestyle, but more than that, it's a philosophy and also something that gives an anchor to my life. Yeah, because there are also some parts on ethics, how to behave, what to do. Also some advices on how to eat, the yoga of eating. So basically yoga is everything.
Yeah, it's kind of, I mean, I always heard, I know you have been in India and I have too, and there they say all the time, it's like a life philosophy, because it contains basically all parts that you need for a happy life, or not, it's not the goal to be happy, but just a fulfilled life, I guess. But yeah, if we, like exactly what you said, yoga is not just asanas, it's also meditations, it's also breath work. And that's what we did, and that's what Eva did. Like she did this heavy breathing, and I hope you guys did it too, because it lights up the fire in yourself. So let's go back to the yoga class we just did, because that was not just asanas, it was different parts combined. So what kind of yoga did we actually do?
Yeah, it's very hard. When people ask me, so what are you teaching? I'm always saying, nah, I'm teaching Anna yoga.
Very good answer.
I mean, over the time you collect so much knowledge and different techniques, and I like to combine them. I'm not like very dogmatic in, like I learned in India this way and now I have to reproduce it in that way. I'm also very much into neuroscience and modern scientific findings, so I was trying to combine it. And what we did today was mostly to go back to the menstruation and the cycle. So we went through different stages, and I tried to give you an experience of how you could feel in that stage and how you could take care of yourself in each of these stages that all have different qualities. And so it's about using the asana, the movement. Your body is an amazing instrument. You can not only live joyfully through it, but you can also express all kinds of emotions through it. You can release energy. I mean, it's without this body, I can't be in touch, I can't be in contact with you. So it's important to work with it and to appreciate and to honor it. I mean, I was on holidays, I gained so much weight, but you know what? I was running up the mountain, I was so happy, like, wow, my heart was pumping and I was sweating. I was like, I am alive, I am here. Yes. And it's such a great feeling, like no matter how your body is looking at this very moment, because everything is in change. And the practice helps to cope with that change or to give it a direction.
Yeah, beautiful. And especially, I mean, we went through every cycle basically of nature in this yoga class, and we as human beings, as you explained in the yoga class, especially as menstruating human beings, we go through a cycle as well. So for example, I am in autumn because my period is due in 4 days and I don't feel so energized, but Eva, for example, is in her full energy now, and I mean, you've seen that, haven't you? And also, what I find really interesting, I think what you try to transport is that it is, or it can be beneficial if we adapt our yoga or our general training to our cycle, right? Because there's different stages where we feel different. And that is caused through our hormones, isn't it?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's for one part to accept your biology and accept that you're still like this animal, yeah, that has to eat, that has to poop, that has to everything. We're just, you know, animals with maybe a little bit more advanced technology up in the brain. And of course, this biology is steering us, yeah, the hormones. There is different cycles. And for me, to be honest, it was a tough part to accept this, because I was like, I'm a human being. I can change and I can do whatever I want to. I'm not due to that changes. But in the end, your body is made in that way. And it's, if you're working with it and not against it, it's a beautiful way. Because it teaches us to live in balance. And for me, that was something that I really had to learn the hard way, because I was in this very young energy, you know, like very competition driven, very active, very, yeah, you have to deliver, you have to perform all the time. And like in yogic terms, we would call this the more male energy, yeah? And it doesn't have to do with gender, not confusing it, but it's more the active, the young energy. And then there is also the female energy, which is softer and more calm, receiving, the yin energy. Yeah? So in yogic terms, it's Shiva Shakti, and Chinese medicine, it's yin and yang. So any tradition has this polarity. And it's, you're never just one. You're never just, oh, I'm the female sensitive part. Oh. No, but I'm also not the her. I can be on both spectrums, and I can also be in the center. And it's about knowing where you're at, knowing where you need to be, and then adjusting. But not adjusting always to the external environment that tells us, you have to be full on power and do this. But to also say like, yeah, you're telling me this? My biology is telling me I need to rest. Like, sorry, it's not gonna happen. I am taking care of myself, because if you don't take care of yourself, no one else is gonna do it.
Exactly, it's our own job to take care of ourselves, right? But that is interesting. So that means there's always a female and male energy in ourselves. So we have the full potential to be whatever we want to be if we know how to use it and how to release those energies. Isn't that right? Yeah, and it depends on us, like where we want to go. There might be phases in life, I guess, where it's really helpful to be sensitive and more emotional, and also it might be helpful to go full force when you are in a step of your career where you are about to make it the next step. So it's maybe good to lean into your male energies. So there is no right or wrong about those energies, right? We just have to accept it, and that's probably the hardest part for all of us.
That's the annoying part, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's so easy to just always be in that state, like, yeah, I'm gonna do everything and whatsoever. But as you said, it's so beautiful. I mean, we have this menstrual cycle every month that is reminding us of change, but then there are also the cycles in our whole lifetime, you know? Yeah. We're all quite young, we're all, I don't know, in our 30s, I don't know. But then as a young girl, for instance, when you just have your first period, it's a completely new world, yeah? You're starting a kind of a new life, you're approaching as a woman, you're kind of growing up, and maybe at some point start to distract or to lose yourself from your family home. And then there's a time when you're kind of stopping your menstruation, yeah? And that's a completely new cycle. And that's where also the hormone yoga, where I have a lot of my techniques from, is made for.
Let's talk maybe a bit more about this, the hormone yoga, because that is kind of the base of what we have been doing, and like techniques that are especially for menstruating beings. Did I say that right? Did I? I think so. Can you tell us a little bit more about hormone yoga and where it actually came from and who had the idea?
Yeah, so hormone yoga, it's a yoga therapy by Dina Rodriguez, which is a woman from Brazil. And if you look her up, you see she's an elderly lady, but she's still like looking quite, not alive is the wrong word.
In
but
shape.
Like, vital, yeah, thank you. Like you can sense that she's like in her power, you know, yeah, living her life. And she developed hormone yoga for women at the end of their menstruation, so when they're about to go into menopause. because that's when you have a lot of problems occurring, like heat rashes, irritability, you feel like very emotionally, yeah, and that's also again a thing in our society, yeah, we act like, oh, this woman is so emotional and blah, 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 and like act as if it was her problem, but like this woman, like she's gone through her whole life cycle and now she's ready to enter a new stage. Yeah, and like most of these women, or not most, but many of these women, they also have brought children into lives at this age. Maybe the children are also ready to kind of leave the house. So it's also time in the life of a woman where you can decide, okay, wow, there are new doors opening for me. What am I actually going to do with myself? Where is my purpose? And that, of course, can be a beautiful transition, a beautiful experience. But it can also bring up like heavy questions and the feeling of being lost. Also the feeling, oh, okay, my children don't need me anymore. Wow, that's horrible, because something that you worked for all of your life is suddenly coming to an end or changing in a way. And it's exactly that again, the change. And if we're working against it, if we don't want to go there, yeah, we're blocking the energy. But if we're free to move, or if we're free to work with our biology and see change as a constant in life, something that is like guiding us and giving us new ideas and everything, yeah, beautiful things can arise.
Nice. Why did you, to come back one more time to hormone yoga, you said, I know, you said it's more for people in menopause, but then after Dina brought it into the world, basically, there were way more women approaching this technique, because it did bring, or it does bring, also beneficial to women who are younger, because it does work with the feminine hormones, right? Yes. So what is the benefit we are taking out of it if we do get in touch with our bodies more, and if we start working with our feminine hormones? Can you tell us about that?
So the hormone yoga, it consists of hatha yoga, so the asanas, the movements, then the breath, the Bhastrika, for instance, and also mudras and specific postures, but the main part is also to direct the energy. It's some Tibetan techniques. And it's more of a tantric spectrum that we don't have that much in normal yoga classes. And maybe for some it's also a bit of a weird part, because you have to imagine that you send energy, for instance, into your womb. Yeah? But it's, I mean, if you think about a very delicious croissant, and you think already about the sound of biting into the croissant, and maybe you have some very nice chocolate spread on it, what is happening in your mouth?
You can feel it instantly, yeah. It's like coming, you can feel it. The taste,
you already have the croissant in your mouth.
I have a croissant.
Yeah. So just a thought, yeah, which is not something physical, not something that we can touch, is having a physical response. So if I direct my energy and I bring my attention into certain parts of my body, it will also have a response. Yeah? But the thing is, we have to believe in it, and we have to actively practice it. Because if I practice it, now I practice this and send my energy there, it's not going to work, of course. Yeah? So it's more about a mindset and really a mental training that we're doing there. So why are so many people going there, women approaching hormone yoga? It's menopause, of course, is very feelable, like you have maybe symptoms, but also there are many women who want to get pregnant, but they can't.
Oh, yeah.
And also many people, also our age, who have problems with their menstrual cycle. I also, for a very long time, had PCOS. I think there was also a question, we're going to talk about this later, I guess. And for me, starting with the yoga, or changing my life, not only with the asanas, but also bringing in the right nutrition and everything, had some tremendous changes in there. And I think in our health system, as we have it right now, that is more stressed on giving medicaments that treat the symptoms, but not the cause of it. We experience a world where we're not in touch with our cycles, yeah? And we don't even know about our cycles. To be honest, like, I didn't know much about my cycle until I really studied it and read everything I could find, and then also brought this knowledge to my body and observed my body. And that for me is the practice of yoga, like to observe your own experiences.
Yeah, true. And if we are already at that topic, for me, I can just relate because I wasn't in touch with my own cycle. I was on hormonal birth control until I was 27, and I found it normal because, like, literally every woman around me was on hormonal birth control. And also when I went the first time to see the doctor when my period arrived, my mom suggested that, and the doctor also did. So it was like a common thing to do. And so there was no questioning about it or thinking about, are there alternative ways? But what's your opinion about it? Like, what's your opinion about the pill, actually?
I also took a lot of time in my life. I took the pill not only for birth control, what it is actually made for, but for any kind of problems. When I was very young, I didn't have my period for maybe 6 months, then I was a year without period, like, for years. Well, I think there are many, many girls out there who have the same, and my doctor at that time, she said like, oh, it's very normal, you're young and you're very thin, that can happen. And then when I moved cities, I had a new doctor, and she said, actually, it's not normal to not have your period. Like, it's a sign of vitality, and that's what it is. Yeah, it's a monthly report card that we have. It's like, cool, everything is fine in my body, and you can actually celebrate it. I'm bleeding. Yes, okay, good. Everything worked out in a way it should have. But then the doctors, they prescribed the pill because, I mean, it's very available. It's very easy. And then I don't want to blame anyone, but I think our system is not made in a way that doctors are really educated to know alternative treatments. And so if the pharma industry has one solution that treats it, of course you just give it out. It's cheap, it's easy, and people don't have to actually go into their bodies, because that's what our health system is kind of doing. Like, you're giving up the responsibility for your own health to a doctor, to someone who maybe has heard your story for 10 minutes. You go into their office, you tell like, oh, I'm not having my period, blah, blah. Okay, good, I'm giving you the receipt for the pill here. They don't know you. You know yourself for your whole life. But we're trusting the people with a nice title or whatever more than we trust ourselves. And I think that's a great tragedy in our society. Like, we've lost touch with our bodies, with our biology, with our own being.
Which kind of brings us back to what you said at the start. That's what yoga is about also, right? To get back to that connection and to really understand what's going on in your body. But I mean, I think we all have the same experience, right? That it was the easiest when we were young, not blaming anyone here, but it was just the easiest for everyone to prescribe the pill. And also maybe you guys can relate. It was not just prescribed for having the regular period, also against facial problems or whatsoever you had. So that was the easiest. And I think we also had one question from the community regarding that topic, did we?
I just wanted to say that the question is, any tips to support body coming off hormonal birth control, and also how to support hormonal health naturally while having PCOS that you mentioned you've been going through, and period problems?
It's quite a big question. I mean, the interesting fact is that when we are on a birth control pill, what happens actually is that our body is the entire time in the luteal phase, so the phase after ovulation. And so it means our body, like the pill, it blocks the receptors of our own feminine hormone signals. So our body thinks like, okay, it's all blocked, so I don't need to produce anymore. It's all taken care of. So our body doesn't produce our own sexual hormones anymore, which means we're on a pause, on a break, and our body doesn't do anything, regulate itself. And if we stop taking the pill, we have a period, but it's not an actual period. It's not, because a normal period is a result of ovulation. And with ovulation, you then have the progesterone. But then if you are on the pill, you don't have this. You have a period, you have blood coming out, but just because it's a withdrawal system. Your body is like, whoops, okay, something's missing, okay, we have to reset. And that's, so your body has never learned, or maybe it has for a while, but then the longer you take the pill, the harder it is to then come off the pill, because your body is so used to that state and it hasn't really found its way. I mean, if a girl gets the period for the first time, it takes years to find their own cycle. The body just needs to get time to find its new way. It's like when we start something new, when we learn something new, we need time to get good in it, no?
Yes, definitely.
Same for the body. I mean, we need to give it that time. But then if we never gave it that time, we start taking the pill, our body never learned how to actually regulate itself. So if you're getting off the pill, it will be very likely that you have very irregular menstruation, maybe for a while, none at all. And I always recommend to work with alternative practitioners. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medical person, so I would hold back from giving advice here, but there are really, really good also herbs that you can work with. And how you can support yourself on your hormonal level is exactly that, to learn again, to listen to your own body, to become aware of your own biology. What do I need? And if we're not used to do that, it's also hard to listen to that voice, but it's practice, it's gonna come with time. So just any practice that works with awareness. And I mean, I'm a yoga teacher, I live and I love yoga, but also I think it's not the right for everyone. So everyone can find their own practice, but it's just anything that helps you to become more aware of your own body, of your own emotions, of your feelings, and to trust that, and to trust that your body is sending you the right signals. Because if you're getting sick, your body wants to tell you something, there is something going on. And yeah, with the birth control, it's really about establishing this practice and getting the help you need. Because it can like cause very much irritations, your whole hormonal world is off. So you need time to get back into it. And yeah, practicing hormone yoga can help, like with the breath exercises, with asanas. It helps a lot. Also the right nutrition.
Oh, yeah.
And what we also, I mean, in our daily lives, we're in a world where we have a lot of plastics around us, yeah, with a lot of BPAs, that's like stuff that makes it more soft. But also this stuff, and also perfumes and everything of that, it's also blocking our natural hormone receptors, so working similarly in a way. And that again has an impact on our female health, which is such a big mess, I feel. And then the water we're drinking, I mean, it has been proven that because so many women are taking the pill, it comes through the urine and goes into our water. So again, our water is full of hormones. And yeah, there's so much stuff going on, and we're all sighing and like, I can feel the rage and the kind of frustration that we have with this. And I know it's not because anyone wants to harm us or whatever, but it's also a lot because we don't know.
Yeah.
And research is quite also fairly new. Like there has been so much research now already proving that taking the pill is linked with depression, with panic disorders, also with collecting water in the body and so on. So there are heavy side effects, yeah, but no one's talking about them. And I mean, I'm really into neuroscience, so when I read the study, I was amazed because the pill changes the brain in around 25%.
Wow.
So also the way of how we think and approach and see the world is changed if we see the pill.
Wow, that's a high percentage.
Yeah, and it's when I read it, I was like, oh my god, it's so normal. Yeah, we give it to our young children as well. Like, oh, okay, you're 11, something's off. Take the pill. Here you go. Yeah. And the body never learns to regulate itself. And yeah, I find it so frustrating, and it moves me a lot, and that's why I'm very passionate about speaking about it, and also making sure that people start speaking about the period and normalize it. And also, you know, if you're around men or in a group saying like, oh no, I have my period, I don't want to, or I take it easy, whatever, normalize it. We're humans with biology, and that biology also needs to be honored in a way and supported. So yeah.
Do you have more community questions?
Yeah, because our time is running out.
Already? Can't believe it.
We have a few minutes left, and I don't think we can answer all the questions. But there is a question about the yoga sequence, and how did you choose the sequence to each stage? and what is the correlation between hormones and asanas.
So when we're moving the body, we move our system and we're moving energies. Yeah? If you think about the last time you were dancing, like very free and ecstatically, and I'm looking at you because I know you dance.
Oh yes.
What happens? What do you feel?
Excitement, joy, like everything coming out, like just, oh my God, I can't even describe it. It's just empowered, full of, yeah, I just feel alive when I dance and when I let my body do whatever it feels like, and I don't follow any rules or choreography or something. I just literally move. I put on the music that fits to my mood and then just start moving. And after that, that's the most important thing, I always feel better, no matter how I felt before. Moving is like a therapy for me. So yeah.
And it's like, it's moving also your hormone system. You're putting out dopamine, serotonin, yeah? So you feel alive, you feel like, yes, I can conquer the world, and so on. The same is with yoga. Yeah? We did, for instance, the summer sequence when we did a lot of standing, moving the kind of Tai Chi poses. Yeah, my intention was exactly that, to bring you in that high kind of vibe that you feel like, wow, wow, wow. Yeah, and standing activates also our root chakra, yeah, our stability, our base. And if you're looking at the hormone system and the chakra system, so chakras are energy systems, energy wheels. We have 7 main chakras in the body that are also correlated with different endocrine glands, but also different topics spiritually as well as emotionally. And if you connect that, you can also shift different moods. And we started quite slowly to build up and to prepare the body. We activated the breath, because if you did the Bastrika, what did it do to you?
It was quite intense, but also like empowering. It was just a feeling of like really taking so much energy into the body.
You pump yourself up, and you're alive. And that can also help to activate our hormonal system, because if we're always just like this, I mean, if we're signaling our body we're about to sleep and nothing's going to happen in our life, well, nothing's going to happen in your life. You need to open the body, yeah? If you want to be receptive to people, if you want to be communicative, you need to be open, because if I'm doing this, I don't think that you get a signal that I really want to talk with you, right?
No, definitely not.
Changes?
Yeah, exactly. Get your breasts out. I don't want to jump in, because I think maybe we have some more, like one more nice community question.
There for sure, that would be nice if you could share the studies or links to articles about what you mentioned before, about the effects of the hormonal pills on our bodies. So the viewers are interested actually in to dig deeper into the studies, but I think we will cover that after the event. There's another question. We have a minute left. Do you find the connection between our hormonal system, menstrual cycle, actually, and the moon cycle?
Yeah, that's a nice one. It's interesting, because the moon cycle normally is 28 days, and also the average length of menstruation average is also 28 days. So if you don't have a cycle, because maybe your cycle is disrupted, whatever reasons, maybe you're also into menopause, the moon cycle gives you a system to adjust your life according to a natural rhythm. So I think there's also a very nice article on Wolva. And
quite a few actually, and also you can download the moon cycle as a PDF poster, which is beautiful. You can hang it on the wall. So if you're interested in that, have a look on Voice of Wolva. Yeah. But by the way, I don't want to interrupt you. By the way, in general, because we did talk also about nutrition, and Anna mentioned that is also really important. If you are getting off the hormonal birth control, then take a look at your nutrition. And we have created a completely free Wolva period recipe book, which you can also download completely for free on the Wolva website. So go over there, you find all the information for the stages of your menstruation. What do you need? And you find recipes and all of that. I know that we do not have enough time to answer all questions, but I do promise that we will write articles out of it for Voice of Vulva. So you're going to find way more valuable information on that platform. But before we're going to end this Vulva event, I don't want to miss out to thank everyone who participated, and I have to ask our camera warrior Mirella into the picture. I know she doesn't really want to probably, but she has made this possible to live stream from Berlin, and we are all so thankful for her to be here, and we just want to say, great job! And yeah, give her a comment about her work if you liked what she did, and she was responsible for all the setup and everything. So we are really, really happy to have you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And now we have to let her back because nobody else is there. But Mirella was, of course, not the only one who was participating at this event. I also, of course, want to thank Eva, our beautiful yoga model, who is also a part of the Wolva team. So thank you, Eva, for your time, for your participation. And of course, Anna, what can I say? We have to say thank you to Anna. And I have a little insight, because I don't know if you've read it, but all of you who gave your address will receive a nice little gift package of Wolva, which is sent to your home. We are not going to open it. It's going to keep a surprise. But this is for you, Anna. Thank you so much for making this. And we have 2 more people who participated here behind the scenes. And without them, we wouldn't have made this possible. Mike and Miko, would you be so kind to just come on stage quickly? And then we have basically seen the whole team. And as I said, this is Mike, this is Miko. Super happy for all of you to be here. And yes, as I said, all the questions that we couldn't answer, we're going to write articles about it or just do another Wolva Talk. And we really hope that you enjoyed this. And thank you for being a part of this very first Wolva event. Give us all your feedback in the comments and enjoy the rest of your Sunday.